Hello. Welcome to Brothers in Boots number 66. Mike could not be with us today. He hasn't been able to be with us lately. He's been extremely busy with work. And I don't really have anything, but, you know, this is the day that we go live and it was due. And I don't know. I guess I'll ramble a little bit and see if anybody pops on to ask any questions or talk. Um, no coffee, no bourbon. Got up late today. I have not gathered the strength to go into the kitchen and hit the coffee maker, so I'm uncaffeinated. Been having a rough couple of weeks. High school friend of mine died, and went to his funeral this past Saturday, and his heart just stopped. So nobody really knows what it was exactly, but it hit hard. It was I guess I've had a whole bunch of different friends groups growing up, high school, elementary, and college. But this was one of those friends groups that was really important. I hadn't seen him too much in the last few years, but this particular one hit hard. Had a couple of deaths that could have been avoided, that were likely suicides or ODs. And I mean, it's always sad to lose somebody, but sometimes if you can kind of blame them a little bit, like it's a little bit their fault, it it's a little bit different than when somebody just dies for no reason at all. So somebody who was doing it right and seemed to be living healthy. So it hit me really hard. Um, and I realized that of all of the boots that I own, I didn't have anything that I wanted to wear to that funeral that seemed like it would work. And that kind of sucked. uh, I had an old pair of dress shoes that I wore. I had a suit that I barely fit into. It was, does anybody remember? I guess it's been a few years now. An old commercial for, I don't know, maybe it was Lee jeans. I don't think it was Levi's, but it had a girl who was wearing extra tight jeans or trying to, and you saw her spending like forever trying to get on a pair of pants because the button was too tight, the waist was too tight, and she was like jumping up and down and laying down on the bed and contorting herself. That's how I felt trying to get my suit on this morning, or that morning, Saturday morning, realizing that I no longer have a suit that fits. And I made it into the shoes, the dress shoes, but they're tight and uncomfortable because my feet are kind of wide, and it's just a impractical Johnson and Murphy shoe. Um, I wanted to wear some of my nicer stuff, and none of my nicer stuff was appropriate. Um, some of it because it had like really thick Vibram 100 soles. Some of it because it was too heavy on the white stitching and I didn't want to contrast. Um, some of it because the toe box was just too big and bulbous and obviously didn't belong at a funeral. So I had all these awesome boots and none of them seemed like they'd be appropriate. Um, I do have a pair coming from Indonesia, and they were supposed to be here months ago. Um, I think I think it was April. Probably, I think they were due like mid-April, and sent him a message, and he apologized and said it was taking longer. So I readjusted my expectations for August, for mid-August, and that's exactly where we're at now. But I haven't heard anything that they're out in the mail yet. Haven't seen anything on his Instagram that looks like them, but I did have him make me a pair of dress shoes, dress boots that I've been really excited to get, and I was hoping would be here for my next funeral, next need to be wearing dress shoes. And of course, they didn't make it. Um, and then after the funeral, I found out this past Sunday, a couple of days ago, a few days ago, that one of my uncles died. And we say bad things come in threes, so I hope I don't have any other bad news coming. But I don't know what I'm going to wear to that funeral. They were they were in the process of moving, and so I'm going to spend some time. I'm going to go up there a lot earlier and spend some time with her, trying to help her move and get settled since my uncle isn't there anymore. And she did say something like, don't bother wearing a suit. Nobody wears suits anymore. So I am getting a reprieve on that. Um, Still not totally sure what I'm going to wear. I've got a pair of black driving shoes that I think I'll pop on. When you do custom footwear, it's not on shelf, so it's not anything I can grab last minute to be ready. So I think, I mean, since she told me not to wear a suit, I think I'm gonna wear a black button down, maybe silk, um, probably a pair of linen khakis. At least I'll be comfortable. Um, so what else? We were supposed to do a video. We were supposed to do an unboxing for one of the BiB viewers who had his boots sent directly here. And like I said, Mike wasn't available. The only time he had been available in the last few weeks was the day that I was at that funeral. So I couldn't do it. And so we couldn't get anything going for this week, which is why this is live. Uh, I told him that I might do the unboxing as the live video. And he said that he'd try to pop in if he had time, but that hasn't happened, and I wouldn't feel comfortable doing a live unboxing for him. I think it needs more attention than that, and I think it needs both Mike and I being able to see it, to see him really good, and to talk about him intelligently and give them the time they deserve. So I'll have to get to that quickly because I know he wants his boots forwarded on to him. So I can't really hold on to them and delay it, even though right now, kind of feel like delaying it till mid-September. I just can't do that. So if I can't get together with Mike before I've got to go out of town to help my aunt, then I'll do it myself. I'll do a good video by myself and unbox it. Um, let's see what else. Um, I've tried different times for doing these live videos. I do them, I don't know, kind of like when I feel like it on Thursday. So sometimes that's been early before I've gotten started. Most of the time, it's been when I'm taking a break, like earlier or getting started later, like around 10 or 11. And that has gotten an audience, but we're 11 minutes here in here, and we've got zero people chiming in. I don't know how to see how many people are viewing if anybody is live, but I seem to have picked the last worst time to go live. Oh, there it is. So I had two. I'm down to one. Hopefully that one isn't me. Um, I was hoping that people would tune in. All the other times I've had a plan and people have tuned in while I was doing whatever I was doing, and it ended up being a really good video. So I was hoping that this one would get an audience, but it hasn't. I've been messaging Jason a little bit since I got up. Um, Jason's asking me questions about Dome. He wanted my advice on a few pairs of boots. He said that he knows that I hate Dome, but it doesn't mean that I can't give good advice about it. Uh, I think on those one of those two videos that we did do advice. I don't know. I don't know. I hate it so much that it's a little bit hard to think about, but we did give some advice on it. You want to do light colors because the light colors are going to show the most amount of wear quickly. And so that's probably going to be like a light natural is a popular one, or a light CXL, or waxed flesh. Um, I don't know. I mean, those are really, the natural is a really nice color for a pair of boots. It does age well and it ages quickly. So that is a good choice. So if you're thinking about a dark pair of boots, it's not going to get you anywhere. Of course, you need to be good with your photography skills as well. You need to be able to do it outside if you can. So uh, try to grab a better camera than your phone if you can. Try to do the photos outside. Try to do it on a sunny day. You're going to be limited by that depending on your region. I mean, if you get a whole shitload of rainy days, then you're not going to be able to get anything really good in that aspect. Uh, I don't really want to recommend to anybody that they do any expensive photography, lighting, and stuff like that. That's what I forgot to do. This whole thing is, this whole video, it seemed pretty dark, and I couldn't figure out why. Forgot my lighting. Um, if I wanted to do negative videos on things, how do you guys think that you would respond to that? Like, I've had a few videos on a few makers where I've done research and decided that I had issue with them, or I've had personal issue with them, and I've thought about doing videos on it because I feel like others should know to think about that, or others should have extra insight to be able to think about that. But this whole social media world is kind of about being positive. A lot of people just want to see positive shit, and when you're negative, you're just sometimes can be looked at as a hater. As much as I hate that term, uh, I really do hate that term. By the way, it's probably the worst phrase or word that I can imagine, because you can hate something and still not be a hater. I mean, something can suck and it doesn't make you a hater for not liking it. But I mean, if I said stuff that was factual and researched and gave like various quotes and stuff to back up where it came from, uh, so that it was constructive and negative, is that something that would interest people, or would I just be a jerk? Um, I don't know. Like I said, I've got a few of them. I've got a few of them I've been holding off on. I got a few of them I could make videos on, and I just haven't. So, what else? I don't have anything else. Still don't have any viewers at all. Um, haven't really done my Facebook today. I guess I could go through the groups and see if I've got anything that seems interesting or thought provoking. Uh, Cliff put up a video last night on some 12-inch monkey boots that he opened up, and they look awesome. They look badass. Frank's did a incredible job on them as usual. He he did put them on. Where did I see that? That might have been in the Frank's community instead of in the unbiased. He did put them on, and he put the kilties in, and I don't think that kilties look really good with monkeys. I've probably shown in this channel that I cut my kilties back to like almost the third set of eyelets, so that they were protecting the gusset and doing their job, while at the same time couldn't be seen below my pant legs. So using them as a function instead of just for looks, because they don't, to me, they don't look good on a pair of monkeys. It kind of just goes almost past the toe. But really nice pair of boots that he got. I look forward to seeing them get broken in. He used uh, Dublin Old English, and he used Wickett and Craig Oiled Latigo Chestnut, and they're both really nice color choices. I think they'll age well. Um, Ashley's selling a pair of boots they're shocking. It looks like a great deal for somebody if they're a 8.5D pair of Franks with Toscanello Merriam horse butt. Um, Beautiful Dr. Soul half soles, beautiful boots. Um, I'm not seeing any comments that say why she's uh, getting rid of them. Oh, sorry. Yeah, she did. She said car broke down, so I guess she's having some big money issues. That's unfortunate. Um, what else? A guy named Colin asked, he said he knows that Franks are best for boots and Hanks are best for belts, but he wanted to know who was best for wallets. We haven't really talked about wallets. My answer to the person was Ashland. I, I think Ashland is a very good company. They use a lot of cordovan, which is thinner. It makes for a thinner wallet. I personally like the thinnest, most minimalist wallet possible. And cordovan is really good for that. And I mean, it costs, but that's one thing that it's really good for. So if I were in the market for a really nice wallet right now, it would be Cordovan from Ashland, I'm pretty sure. Frank's does have some wallets, and Nick's does have some wallets. Um, they are nice. They're not for me. The leather is a little bit thicker or heavy duty, but uh, a lot of the audience of this channel is in favor of rugged, and I would imagine quite a few of them are probably wanting a real wallet with space that's going to go in their back pocket, and they do make good wallets for that. I keep my wallet in my front pocket. I have done that for about 15 years now, at least 10. um, I knew a guy that had sciatica, and it was really painful, and he said it was really horrible, and the biggest way to develop that and to uh, continuously have pain after you've developed it is having a wallet in your back pocket. So that got me to put my wallet in my front pocket. It's also nice to when the jeans are fading out, and then eventually starting to get holes in them from things in your pockets. That really ages the back of a pair of jeans pretty quick, and eventually you're going to have to patch it if you want to keep on keeping things back there. So seems to be less wear when you put that in the front pocket, less of a chance of getting pickpocketed in the front pocket, uh, easier to make sure that it's there and hasn't disappeared without having to grab your own ass. So I keep mine in the front, and because I keep it in the front, I want it to be super small. I've done away with keeping photographs. I've done away with keeping spare keys like I used to. When when I got my first car, the very first day that I went out for my very first ride, my dad handed me $5 and said, "Make your first stop at the hardware store and go get a spare key made for the door." He said, "You never know when you're going to lock your keys out of your car, and eventually it's going to happen." Of course, then we didn't have key fobs and electronic door lock um, situations, or that made it harder to lock your keys in the car. So I guess it's not as much of an issue anymore. I certainly haven't locked my keys in the car in forever. Um, so I've stopped keeping the keys in there. I stopped keeping the pictures in there. I used to keep a whole bunch of extra credit cards in there to be safe. Stopped doing that. I used to keep a whole bunch of money and deal in cash. Now I've just got like an emergency 20 or two that don't take up much space, and the rest of my life is credit cards. And if I need to, I can use like Android Pay or whatever it's called, Google Pay, off of my phone if I had to. So I can keep a pretty small wallet. So, I mean, it's just my driver's license and 2 credit cards and 2 20s, and that's that's everything. Um, I take pictures of some things to put them on my wallet or on my cell phone for things that I might want, but don't need to have with me. So the Cordovan is ideal for me because it allows for the thinnest wallet possible. I want something really thin in my front pocket. That front pocket also has my keys in it because the cell phone is on the other side. No questions? Come on, guys. I do have 6 people. Ask me a question. Let's talk about something. Or let me know you're there and I can ask you a question because I really don't have anything to say. I just wanted to make sure I did a video. I didn't want to just leave everybody and not do a video like I said I would. Um, what else? I got nothing. Um, viewers went down to 5. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna I'm gonna have to shut this down. Oh, Charlie. Charlie, good. Ask me a question. All right. Charlie, what's your favorite pair of boots? Brand. What's your favorite brand? Or what's your favorite type? Do you like the dressier side? Do you like engineers? Do you like tall lace ups? I don't care for them, but I did Red Wing. Red Wing has its place, man. Yeah, you're right. I don't care for them, but I respect what they do at the price point that they do it for. And most people don't have super wide feet like I do and can fit into them nicer. They've got their dedicated stores, so it's nice to be able to go in there and get fitted. Um, it allows you to own more boots for your dollar. Get a bigger closet. Obviously, they're popular. I mean, they have got their own stores. So, no dressy. I work in all of them. Well, if you're doing harder work, and these Red Wings must not be. How well do they hold up for you? Are you replacing them like every year? Avery just received a pair of monkeys from Frank's. Very happy with them. I feel like they may make an extra effort for the monkeys, but maybe I'm wrong. I've wondered before what motivates the guys, and I mean, they've got a bunch of people that are doing the same jobs. So, like for example, they don't have just one sewer. So, for certain boots, do they make sure that the person they feel is their best sewer is handling them? And if so, what makes that decision? Is it because of the color of the leather? Is it because of the value of the leather? Is it because of the style? Is it because they chose contrast stitching so that every stitch is noticed more? And I don't know the answer to that. But yeah, all the monkeys do seem to be made really, really well. It's probably not the easiest one to sew. Might not even be the easiest one to last. So they might have to go to some of their better guys. Charlie wears whites too. They hold up fine for what I do. Which whites? Like full-fledged whites or like Perry's? What's your opinion on unsung engineer boots? Overhyped or great? Overhyped. Overhyped and good. They're they're doing a good job. I'm not gonna talk negative about their product at all. But I feel like they came in too hot. I feel like they came in and decided the price point that they wanted before they gained the reputation for what they're doing. So stuff usually comes in a little bit cheaper until people sing their praises and know how good they are. And that's definitely not what happened with Unsung, but they certainly make a good product. Do I like Drews? I like the owners of Drews a lot. I think they're really good people. Um, the old Drews, without reservation, I liked what they did. They, they worked with different places. They worked with different builders. They made sure that a good product was available and offered it at a good price. And the guys that work there are really good at fitting people. So there is a lot to like about Drews, but ever since they came out with the Mexican one, there's an asterisk there. I don't care for the Mexican ones. I I I think I feel like the price would have to be a whole hell of a lot lower than it is. I don't know what their margin is. I am not against Mexico. I realize that a lot of great boots have been made in Mexico for a very long time, but certain kinds of boots. You can't just say all boots are going to be great that come out of Mexico. They've got good boot makers, they've got bag boot makers, they've got people that have been spending their whole life making cowboy boots, and it doesn't mean that they know how to make a pair of loggers. And to me, the that Mexican product, they changed the 55 lasts a little bit. They changed it in a weird way that's caused issues for people because the sizing has changed. Um, I you put the Mexican Drews up against a pair of Frank's Patriots, and you're talking about the same boot at the same price point, but one of them is made by an American company that's been making that style of boot um, in one way or another. I mean, for 100 years, because a lot of Frank's employees are have been at White's in the past or were at Nick's in the past when Frank owned Nick's, and since then. So when you're talking about these companies in Spokane, it's a little bit harder to judge them by how long they've been open because they're making the same thing that's been tried, true, and tested for 100 years by the same people in a relatively small town. So when you're putting a boot up, when you're putting those two boots up against each other, I mean, the Frank's Patriot is a no-brainer choice. Uh, a high quality boot made by a high quality company, made in a town that's been making that's been making that boot essentially for 100 years. Um, and you say that you can buy a Mexican one from Drew's by some Mexicans that in a larger factory that haven't been making that style of boots for very long. It doesn't make sense to pick that Drews, but they work with Anderson Bean. They work with they used to work with Viberg. They've worked with Wesco really closely. They've worked with all the Spokane builders except for JK, and they never will, because why would you? Uh, so I don't know if that answers it, but largely, I like I like Drews. Um, Perry selects, yeah. So I mean, Charlie, I would suggest trying to get into a real pair of Spokane boots and see how they work for you compared to your Red Wings, value wise. I mean, I was just talking about the Patriot. You can get a Frank's Patriot for the same price as a pair of Red Wings, or virtually the same price, and it's a hell of a lot more boot. And you did say that you're working in them, so it's not all style. Um, or the Drews Mexican is the same price point. I don't think it's quite as good. But if you're working in your boots, those are much higher quality without spending much more, or about the same. That those Perrys are essentially Red Wings with different choices. I mean, you can get different leathers or different contrasts, but as far as the quality, as far as what it'll hold up to, um, the Perry is not truly a P&W boot. Are there only P&W that makes a monkey? If so, that may be why. Uh, they are the only P&W that makes a monkey. Yes. Obviously, there's other monkeys out there. A lot. The Indonesians will make a monkey for you, and they're high quality. There are knockoffs out there that are making them. Um, Solar makes a monkey. I think you can find. I don't think Chippewas make them one anymore, but I think you can still find them if you look around. Especially an older Chippewa is a decent boot. But yeah, Frank's is the only one that's tackled the monkey style as far as P&W boots go. So yeah, they might be looking at it and saying we have to be trying extra hard because we're the only ones doing it. Charlie, do you care for his? Do you care for his? Do I care for his who? His Drews? His unsung? His um oh, JK? Do I care for JK? Is that the question? Do I care for JK? No. No, I don't care for JK. There is not a single positive thing that I can say about JK. Um, we've done 65 videos. This is the 66th. If you listen to them all, and you're paying attention close, and some of it's between the lines, you will catch quite a bit of negative about JK. But we try not to name them. We try not to give them any airtime, because they're not even good enough to mention their name enough um, to talk about what kind of shit they are. But they uh, they're slimy. They're they're untruthful. They mislead. They They don't treat their customers right. They are much more concerned about trying to make a quick buck off of a customer and then not caring if they buy another pair of boots from them. Uh, they lie about when the company started. They lie about their history on their company. They lie about where their family came from. Um, you go back far enough, they freely admitted they were Russian. Nothing wrong with being a Russian immigrant. Lots of Russian immigrants in Spokane. Lots of the guys making boots for all of those brands have Russian heritage. Um, the original Nick from Nick's was Russian. Um, Certainly not saying anything negative about Russian, but they seem to have a negative feeling about where they're from. And I guess because of the conflict, they want to be on the right side of it. So all of a sudden they're from the Ukraine. Fuck you. If you're from Russia, say you're from Russia. I mean, just because you came from Russia 20 years ago doesn't mean that you stand for their politics now. But now they're from the Ukraine and they're not. Um, at the time that they say they were starting their company, I believe that John was doing real estate up in Seattle. He wasn't even in Spokane. I think it's pretty sure his wife was still sewing for Nick's at the time they say they got started. Um, their 3708 last that they say they have is really the 4811 from White's. It's a great last. So I'm not slamming the 3708, but I'm certainly slamming them for not being able to admit that that's what they use. Uh, Nick's uses the 55, and they say so. Frank's uses the 55, and they say so. Same for the H&W. And Frank's, even though they don't talk about it, they have the 4811. Uh, they certainly didn't rename it with another last number. They're not sitting around sanding off the 4811 and writing 3708 on it. So it looks like they made their own fucking last. So, what the fuck? Um, I mean, what else? They've been lying about their sizing since the beginning. Again, because they want to mislead people into thinking that they're doing their own shit and they're not just doing the same thing as the rest of the Spokanes. Uh, they have an internal chart that tells them um, if uh, if we're going to use a 10E 4811 last to make the boots, we're going to tell them that it's not a 10E. We're going to tell them it's a 10 4E. Yeah, a 4E. We'll just increase it by 3 widths and lie. And that way they're not thinking they've got the same thing, or that way it makes it harder for them to translate to buy another brand, so they won't do it. And they've changed their sizes 3 times now. It depends on when you bought that pair of boots as to the size it's going to be on it versus the last that they're really using. Um, They let a whole lot more go through quality control that shouldn't get through. They all make mistakes, sure. But, what is your percentage of mistakes? JK's is extremely fucking high. What is the chances of getting a boot that doesn't fit? JK's is extremely high. And are they going to take care of it when there is an issue? Most times, JK ain't going to take care of it. Most times, JK is going to tell you, fuck you. They're going to blame it on you. Um, until such a time as you join a face group that doesn't allow JK to scrub it, so they can't be taken away. That's like the only time that JK steps up and takes care of a problem. And then they're going to give you some big gift cards and whatever else so you can get another shitty pair of boots. Um, what else? Since I'm rolling, um, JK, J fucking K. Uh, their their instructions when you buy a pair of boots. Take your as soon as you get your boots, oil them. The fuck? No, you don't oil boots when you first get them. Nobody's got leathers that have been sitting around for a few years where they need to be conditioned right away. By conditioning your boots, you are ultimately long term making your boots so that they won't conform to your feet as well as they could. And you're allowing them to say right away when you've got issues that you call them up about, oh, well, you oiled your boots, so there's nothing we can do. So they're instructing you to do something to make it easier for them to not take care of you when you have problems. What the fuck is that? Um, and of course, we all know that they choose. Well, I think we know that they choose a softer temper leather, and a softer temper is, it makes your boots break in easier. It makes them more comfortable when you're first wearing them, but it makes them break in everywhere. And you don't want the boot to break in everywhere. You want it to break in where you're actually moving so that it is conforming to your foot. If it's moving everywhere, it's not conforming to your foot. It might be initially more comfortable. Um, and it's not going to last as long. So you need to buy boots more often. Um, there's a guy that I was talking to that he's a firefighter in Texas, and JK was at an event, and they said that JK was touting how they had easy break-in or no break-in on their boots. And he said, every firefighter there that I talked to, we all knew that that meant that the boot was not going to be ultimately as comfortable. It wasn't going to be as tough, and it would need to be replaced more often. I can't believe those dumbasses think we are so stupid that they can snow us with that kind of shit. So yeah, I guess I just covered a whole bunch of shit there, but yeah, fuck JK. I can't wait for him to go away. And they do have supply chain issues. They do have problems paying their bills. I mean, any day now, I wouldn't be surprised if they're just gone. They they fired they fired 35 people at Christmas time, and right after they fired the 35 people, uh, Tim, Mr. Mr. JK's son, John's son, went out and bought a, like, what, $120,000 Ford Raptor. So yeah, we can't afford to get fire you guys, and we're going to fire you during the holidays at the worst possible time. But I'm going to go buy a truck that's worth over 100 grand. That's not what you do when you don't have money. You maybe even sell the expensive vehicle you've got so that you can try to keep your employees longer. Um, is it really the 4811? The arch seems to drop off much more rapidly than smoke jumpers. Yeah, it's because of when they're making the boot, it's because of the leather that they are using to make it. So, they are using a thinner, for that kind of leather. The word is irons for the thickness. So they're using like a 7 iron, and Nick's is using like a 9, and Frank's is using like an 11. And so the thickness of the leather being used in that arch is going to affect the way that your foot feels that arch. How about the paper that says oil right away so you can't return them? Yeah, sorry, I touched that before I read it. Absolutely. Um, boom. Yeah, I guess I just spouted out a whole bunch of shit. 65 episodes of trying to avoid it, and you get me live, and I start saying it all. Uh, I don't know why you'd oil them anyway. Their temper is so weak and the grain is so loose that there is no break in. Yeah, you know, I mean, even uh, even when your temper is weak and your grain is loose, your boot is still going to dry out. And when it's a pair of bison, they are going to dry out faster. But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. There absolutely is no reason to oil them. I feel bad for all these people who spent money on the Rose Anvil JK Blood Core boots. I've seen so many issues with them lately. Yeah, yeah, I have seen a lot of posts of people unhappy with those. I feel sorry for anybody who does anything because Rose Anvil suggested it. And I feel bad for anybody dealing with JK. Um, and even the ones who try to fight back with logic, the logic has holes in it. I mean, they've got that stupid bear slayer notched out hook and eye thing going up, like it helps with break in and helps with wear. Um, if it did any of those things, everybody would be doing it all the time. Every pair of whites, every pair of Knicks, every pair of Franks, every pair of Westco. Maybe not Viberg because they're more about looks and fashion, but and it doesn't look good. But all of those brands that I just named, all of those old time brands making high quality boots, if those notches were good, White's would have been doing it for the last 100 years. And Rose Anvil doesn't know fucking shit. Just because Rose Anvil wanted to put some notches in there, he's trying to fashionably make something different. And you watch Rose Anvil's original videos, he freely admitted that he doesn't know shit about fuck when it comes to boots. Right? He knows a little bit about leather because of the straps that he does for his cameras. He seems to know enough about to make good camera straps. But those are harness leathers. Those aren't any of the leathers most of the leathers we're talking about with boots. Um, and he's not doing anything that really wears with a camera strap holder thing. He freely admitted he didn't know anything about boots. I mean, he did a video on Doc Martens where he was laughing at them for putting in a wooden shank. And then he had to come in and do a video a little while later saying, "Oh, somebody informed me that that wooden shank actually does something, and it isn't stupid." Yeah, well, he didn't know anything. It was good that he actually came back and said that he didn't know anything. But this guy who freely admits that he doesn't know anything, people are listening to him, thinking that he knows shit about fuck. Um, the JKs are noisy. They're falling apart. They're being cheap on the glue that they use, or not using it at all. I think they're skipping some of the the rubber slip soles in order to save money. Um, I talked to a lot of employees that used to work at JK uh, over the years here and there. I don't always keep on talking to very many of them, but they all come out of there with news. They all come out of there saying, "Oh, they're skipping corners on this. Oh, they're cutting a corner on that. They stopped doing this. They're not doing that." Um, their their steel toes actually come from China. Um, so they're cutting a corner everywhere they can. Aggressive marketing will take care of that. Well, aggressive marketing will get you the sales, and that's for JK is proof positive for a marketing course of how well you can do with marketing. They get a lot of people to come in and buy their boots. They get a lot of people coming in from nowhere and thinking that JK is best, and they don't really have anything to compare it to. I mean, they're certainly better than a pair of Red Wings, but that doesn't mean that they're anything good as anywhere near as good as the other boots in their price range. Marketing can do some crazy shit. I am a marketing manager. I'm minored in marketing. And one of the one of the labels that we studied, one of the brands we studied in school was Absolute Vodka. Absolute Vodka was a cheap, bottom shelf, plastic, 1.75 liter, $8 a bottle vodka. It was shit. It was, when you're a high school kid or a college kid and you're looking to get something as cheap as possible, something to make jungle juice with, Absolute was one of those brands. And they hired a marketing company. The marketing company came in and said, well, we got to change everything. Uh, we're going to stop making those 1.75s and we're going to sell everything in a 750. We're going to sell it in a glass bottle. We're going to specially design that glass bottle. We're going to make it look really cool. And we're going to do this great marketing campaign. Um, I mean, their marketing campaign was so great that there's a there's a coffee book or a coffee table book just full of pictures of Absolute ads. Uh, and of course, they're back to making 1.75 liters in addition to 750s, but they're charging big, big money for a vodka that used to be really, really cheap. Sorry, I brought it up. Not really. Kind of enjoyed you going at them. You sorry, not sorry. um, Wes will say something in one video and then in another act like he is clueless about what he knew in the previous video. Uh, Weston, yeah. I'd never heard anybody call him Wes before. Uh, I really hate that he named his channel Rose Anvil because I always feel like I need to refer to him as Rose Anvil so that people know who you're talking about. But at the same time, I would like to be able to act like I actually know his name, which I do, which is Weston. And yeah, he contradicts himself a lot. I mean, when you're getting paid $20,000 to make a fucking video, you're going to have to change what you say every video. JK is the best. Oh, wait, no, Nix is the one paying me 20 grand this week. Nix is the best. Oh, sorry. Whites. Whites just sent me a big check. They're the best. Uh, you know, once you sell your soul, you're never going to give the same answer twice unless they pay you twice. Wes understands what a niche is and jumped on an opportunity at the right time. He did. Um, he got lucky, and his brain is good at marketing. He came in and during COVID when people were at home with all sorts of extra time, so that worked out for him. He has a good voice. People like listening to his voice. Some viewers really like the cat, but we haven't. Of course, I haven't watched one of his videos. I won't give him a click for years, but his cat used to play kind of a big role in the initial videos when I watched them, and then the cat went away. But that was nice niche. Um, he made himself seem human by admitting that he didn't know anything. That he just had the time to and the idea to cut him in half. I think all we've got to learn from Weston is just to watch his videos, just to watch the photo of the cut in half footwear. If somebody did a website without, of course, Rose Anvil would probably sue him, I'm sure. But if somebody did a site where all they did was just post up all the pictures that he put up, that would be 100% of what anybody needs to hear from Rose Anvil. The photos are nice to see. It's nice to see what's in there. Um, but yeah, he's got a good voice. He seems to have a good sense for marketing. He's spent a good amount of time and effort into stuff for editing. It's just a shame. I wish he hadn't sold out. I liked what he was doing initially. Um, he's a shill. Yeah, he's definitely a shill. Like I said, it's unfortunate. He could have done good stuff with his channel. Good stuff for people. He did great stuff for himself. American Pie retracted a message, so I didn't see it. Um, what else? It's been an hour. This video is thought it was going to be nothing, and ended up going on complete rants on JK and partial rants on Weston. In this community, on this platform, who hasn't sold out? I haven't. Mike hasn't. Um, Carl, I don't know. I don't have a judgment on Carl. I like Carl. At least I think I like Carl. He One of his early videos, I remember him saying it was a pair of Knicks, and he talked about how expensive they were. He talked about how he didn't have the money to be able to afford them. He talked about how he was wearing them after work because he couldn't bring himself to wear them to work because they were so nice and expensive. And I mean, it was totally organic and it was totally real. And yeah, he was talking about how great they were, and they are great. But he's also saying that it was kind of out of his price range, and it was kind of hard for him to do until he finally, I guess, got enough scuffs in him. But somehow, and that video, I mean, it replays in my mind occasionally, and that video, I mean, maybe it's an unfortunate video for him to have made. Maybe it's not even still on his channel, but how am I supposed to truly take you sincerely with all of this expensive clothing and expensive boots and all this other expensive stuff when your wife got pissed off at you for buying a pair of Knicks? Which, yeah, I didn't say, but that was one of the other things in the video. His wife had gotten pissed off at him, and he was having to try to justify. So you don't have the money for a pair of Knicks. Your wife's pissed off at you for buying that pair of Knicks. And years later, we we've got what, 50 boots, 50 expensive boots. We've got expensive jackets. We've got expensive shirts. We've got a whole lot of expensive things for a guy that couldn't afford a pair of Knicks. So, is he for real? I mean, he did a video on between Drew's and Frank's, and I mean, he has a relationship with Drew's. And Drew's sent him those boots for free, and Drew's sent him extra stuff to be able to show off in the video. And and then when he does compare the Franks, he doesn't intelligently speak about them. I mean, he talks about the the wrinkles at the last, like it's a bad thing, like it's an inferior thing that makes them not as good, when the reason why it's there is because it is a higher quality piece of leather, that it is a stiffer temper leather. And when you fold that leather out, that's what happens. It's not actually a sign of not being as good. It's a sign of being better, but he didn't know that. Uh, so, like I said, I mostly like him. He's mostly getting benefit of the doubt. He has said some very intelligent things. I don't think that he has sold out, but I think he's got preferences sometimes that he shouldn't. And I think that he's being given things. Um, and it's just a matter of whether the fact that he got it for free is going to influence him or not. Stride-wise is another big shill. Dude doesn't even wear boots, but he is trying to give his opinion on what you should and shouldn't wear. I'm I like what Stride-wise does. I like him. I think he's a good dude. He's certainly not working hard in them, but he's gone pretty far towards doing a good job. Um, I'm not on his bandwagon. I'm not going to sing praises about him, but I'm not going to say anything bad about him either. Um, my only issue with Carl is his timeline doesn't really add up with what all he says he's done. Plus, if he is truly blue collar, he would know more terminology than he does. He's an electrician, or he says he is. Um, or maybe he was a electrician and he's not anymore. Maybe he's retired. Maybe he was an electrician for a while. Maybe he got an inheritance or invested well, and or maybe his wife makes plenty of retired. Uh, if so, he might have forgotten some phrases. Might have might be some phrases around now that weren't popular then. But yeah, I'm with you there. Um, it doesn't always seem to add up. Uh, and I wait for him to do more stuff. I don't watch all of his videos by any means, but I do see his videos pop up occasionally, and occasionally they're good enough to click on. I'm just usually disappointed, and a lot of times, sometimes I'm disappointed in what I clicked on. Like he'll do a video saying uh, 10 boots that I had to get rid of, or 10 boots that weren't worth keeping. Um, or top 10 boots, as a better example. He did a top 10 boots, and in that top 10, he owns 3 creosotes, and his top 10 only had 1 pair of creosotes. Come on. When I can't think of what all of the boots were in the top 10, but none of them, if maybe one of them might have been better than his creosotes, and 4 of them certainly were nowhere near as good. So I just, in other words, I know that he owns boots that he's not talking about. I know that he owns boots. I know that when he talks about his worst 10, I know he's got boots that are worse than those 10. So again, like you said, it doesn't really add up. It doesn't really always feel sincere. I feel like not only are all the cards not on the table, but all the cards aren't in the deck either. But we've seen him tell the truth and spit facts on lots of things. So he's done a lot of really good stuff where it's clear uh, that he's being upfront with us. Uh, Videos on like talking about Brunt, for example, which I still can't believe Brunner's around, and Brunt is a big example of marketing. Uh, let's make a fairly shit product and let's hit everybody over the head all the time with videos. And how many you still see videos from them that haven't like just xed them out and said fuck off? Um, their videos, you can tell the schedule that they're on because I haven't blocked them out. Instead of blocking them out, when I see them, I just hit the laugh emoji. It makes me feel better to hit the laugh emoji than to just X them out and cut them out of my life. But since I see their videos, uh, I'll go 3 months without seeing a new video, or 6 months, or whatever. But I'll go this time period without seeing a video, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, 8 new videos within a week. So they're they're doing like just classic in your face marketing, um, to get people's attention and convince people of how good you are. So they're going in waves. A lot of them they do it once and then they make a whole bunch of money and they disappear and they move on to something else. Braun has managed to keep on doing it, but that's how they're living. They're living on marketing and they're just beating people over the head with it. To be fair, I thought I couldn't afford my first pair of Knicks. Now waiting on my fourth pair of Franks. It is funny how that works, right? Uh, in two different ways. I mean, one of them is initially I can't afford a pair, and when you finally do it, you realize these are this much better. But then the other aspect to it is not better for daily and better for longevity. But then the other thing is you get addicted to being able to make choices and having different boots in your wardrobe. And sure, you need to be able to rotate. I mean, you really shouldn't be wearing the same pair of boots 2 days in a row. But you decide, oh well, I need this color, I need that color, I need this combination, I need that style. And yeah, you go from I can't afford one to I got a whole bunch. I'm certainly there. Uh, Big fan of professional monkey motorcycle content, but his rep took a hit for me when I saw him shill for Brunts. Professional monkey motorcycle content. Is is that Weston? Is that Rose Anvil? I mean, he did do a video series where he rebuilt a motorcycle, um, making us think he's a grease monkey. Um, did did Rose Anvil shill for Brunt? If he did, I missed it. Kind of sad to see Tan Teton being discontinued. It is. Uh, I'm for someone who is trying to watch their money. and trying not to buy the more expensive leathers. That tan teton is a home run. It's everything. So it is really sad to see it go, and it makes a really good on the rough out. The rough out for it looks great. Uh, I've been telling myself for years that I was going to try to mimic an old style Timberland classic wheat boot by doing a tan Teton rough out, and I've never gotten around to it. Um, but they wouldn't discontinue it if it wasn't selling. So I guess most of the audience that would be buying that tan Teton is buying more premium leathers, and it's just not selling. Big John, a YouTuber with like 127,000 followers. Now, um, will you name him? Or maybe I don't want to even give him the click. I remember one guy that did that I watched videos for a long time ago on engineer boots, and the pros and cons of the video and the guy were I don't know, interesting. Like he had Westco, he had Borlée, he had Chippewa. I think he had Fry, and he was talking about all the differences. Um, but the more the video went on, the less that it seemed like he knew what he was talking about. And he seemed to like the really tall ones way too much. Made it seem like he had a bit of a fetish. Oh, okay. His name is Professional Monkey. Okay. I might try to check him out. It sounds like I hate to give him the clicks, but maybe I will. Certainly like Harley content. Um, wish I could. Wish I could figure out how to do more videos on Harley stuff. At this point, most of it is tinkering in the garage than actually riding. I don't get out as much as I used to, and I live in a very congested area, and we've got way too many people on our cell phones texting that just makes it too dangerous. One of the things that keeps a biker alive is being able to predict the stupid shit that people are going to do on the road, before they do it. You can't just react and stay alive. You've got to know what that person is about to do, um, so that you can keep yourself safe. And it's a great skill. And I had the skill before I even started riding. And with these cell phones, it makes it a lot harder to protect that stupid shit they're going to do, because it's not really stupid shit they were thinking about. It's just stupid shit because they weren't even looking at the road. So that has limited my riding, unfortunately. I'd like to figure out a way to that cell phones just can't be used on the road. I don't know how you do it, and I know that it won't happen because everybody's using it for GPS. But man, we'd be a lot safer. There'd be a lot less people dying. Our insurance rates would be a whole lot lower. But I don't need to go down that soapbox. So I've touched on lots of stuff, lots of complaining, lots of bitching. I try so hard not to be negative, and I don't think myself to be a negative person. I try really hard to be positive. But yeah, I do end up having a whole lot of stuff that I've got issue with. I tell myself it's constructive, but constructive or not, it's bitching. Um, what else? I think that's it. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. I think I touched on everything. I can't think of anything that I missed that I would have liked to have constructive bitching. Yeah. Uh, I hope it's a thing. If it's a thing, I'm really good at it. So I guess I don't need to touch on Weston anymore. I could certainly go a lot further at bitching about that guy. I know I could. I know that there's a lot of shit that I didn't say. I don't think I need to. And like I said, I try not to bitch if I can help it. It's just really, really sad that he has such an audience. It's really sad that so many people think that he is so knowledgeable when he clearly is not. We hang out in these Facebook groups, and it, there's a lot of us that know that have seen through Weston and have come to the realization that uh, he shouldn't be paid attention to. No, those same people did get something out of his content for a while. Some of those people, it's the only reason why they've moved into an upper level of boot buying. But most of them kind of realize it, and then you get these newer guys. They come into the groups and they're like, "What's wrong with Weston?" Or what's wrong with this?" Or "Why don't you like the guy?" Or "Why are you a hater?" Or "You're just jealous." And they're not listening. Like they don't want a real answer. And at the same time, you don't want to write a dissertation to them to explain it to them. Um, it's a waste of your time because they're not reading it. Um, Same thing with JK. You get the new guys in, they'll say, "Well, what's wrong with JK?" And scroll the group. Um, Use the search function. There are endless horror stories. There's only so much spoon feeding that anybody's going to be willing to do to help you. Uh, so you just end up fielding the same shit over and over again. Okay. I don't got anything else. Be good, be judicious, spend time, think things through, use logic. You'll eventually see through everything. You'll eventually see what's going on. Um, Hit like and subscribe if you haven't. This hasn't necessarily been the most informative video, but we have had, in my opinion, a ton of really saturated, excellent content in the last year, and we still have not hit the 1,000 mark for viewers, for subscribers. It would be nice to get the algorithm with enough people to get more viewers. A lot of that content really needs a lot more views by a lot more people. So tell your friends and like and subscribe. And as far as the next video, I'd hate to miss one. We've got, see, the next one should be the 4th, and that will be when I'm out of town. So we'll have to try to record something, hopefully, me and Mike, before that. And then the 18th, I'll be getting back a day before that. So, see, I got to get 2 videos completed in the next 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks. I got to get 2 recorded in the next 10 days. I don't know how I'm going to do that. One will have to be that opening boxing, because I got to get his boots to him. And then I'll try to come up with something else so that we don't miss stuff. People are definitely missing out on some very informative content. Thanks for the live. Don't be a stranger. Thank you, Big John. I really appreciate it. I will get off of here. I hope we don't miss an episode in 2 weeks. And I hope we don't miss an episode 2 weeks after that. Stay good. I'm always here. I'm always reading the comments. So even if you comment on an older video, I'll see it. I'll respond. So I'm here. Anybody wants to talk. Enjoy the rest of your day. It's time for me to finally do that coffee and probably quickly move on to bourbon after that. Peace.